I ask you, why are you so utterly lonely inside that crowded room? You wake up every single morning, you eat your food, you go to your work, you laugh with your colleagues, and sometimes you cry in the dark. You surround yourself with people, with noise, with endless distractions, yet deep down in the very core of your being, there is this strange, cold emptiness. It is a quiet question that never leaves you alone, a shadow that follows you even in the brightest sunlight. Why? Why are you here? Why does any of this matter? You chase meaning in your success. You chase it in love. You chase it in God. But notice how everything eventually fades. You have been told your entire life that loneliness is a sickness, a failure. What absolute nonsense. I tell you the truth, you are not running away from loneliness. You are running away from the terror of meeting your real self in that silence. Because in that silence, the question remains burning like an unhealed wound. The tragedy of your life is not that life has no meaning. The tragedy is that you have been looking for it in the wrong place, with the wrong tools, using the borrowed eyes of others. Life's meaning is not an object that can be found in a marketplace. It is not a treasure buried in the earth. It must be lived. And the supreme paradox of existence is this: the exact moment you stop searching for a purpose is the exact moment you begin to feel it. Today, as we sit together, I will take you beyond this endless, exhausting search for meaning. I will show you how to experience life as meaning itself. You will learn how to dissolve this inner restlessness that keeps you constantly chasing purpose, and you will rediscover the silent, ecstatic joy of simply being. I will show you that meaning is not something to find through the heavy machinery of thought, but something that unfolds naturally like a flower through pure awareness. Once you understand this, life instantly stops being a problem to solve and becomes a beautiful mystery to celebrate. If this fire of truth is already stirring something forgotten within you, do not just consume it. Hit the like button so this flame can spread to the millions of others who are still asleep in their own cages. And subscribe to join us in this ongoing journey of waking up. You have been told your whole life that you must find your purpose, that without a specific goal you are lost, useless, a wanderer without a destination. Your parents, your teachers, the priests in the temples, the politicians, and the philosophers, they all fill your innocent mind with their own borrowed meanings. They project their own fears and ambitions onto you. And so obediently you spend your precious days searching, hoping that one day around some corner you will finally discover why you exist. But have you ever stopped to notice something fundamental about this search? The more you search, the more confused you become. Every answer you think you find only brings 10 new questions. Every belief you cling to leaves you slightly unsatisfied, slightly hungry for more. Do not condemn yourself for this. That dissatisfaction is not a failure on your part. It is a sign, a beautiful sign, that the question itself is wrong. You cannot find meaning the way you find objects, because meaning is not separate from you. It is not out there waiting to be discovered. It arises from your presence, not from your pursuit. And so in this time we share, we will explore the real meaning of life, not as a dry philosophy or a theory, but as a lived awakening. We will uncover why humanity has been endlessly, foolishly chasing purpose, how that very search has created immense misery, and what it truly means to live meaningfully without clinging to any fixed idea. We will look at how awareness transforms every single ordinary moment into something of cosmic significance. We will see how love and play reveal the sacredness of existence, and how silence, not accumulated knowledge, is the real key to understanding. Focus your total attention now, because by the end of this talk you will see that the meaning of life was never lost. It was never missing. It was hidden in the very act of being alive. Here is something most people completely miss, a secret that can change your entire dimension of living. You do not suffer because life is meaningless. You suffer because you have been searching for meaning in places where it simply does not exist. You have been taught that the answer lies somewhere out there, in a holy temple, in a perfect romantic relationship, in a massive financial success, in a complex philosophy, or at the feet of a guru. And yet, every time you think you have finally found it, it slips away from your fingers like water. Understand this deeply. That is not because life is cruel. It is because life refuses to be trapped inside your tiny ideas of it. Meaning is not something to be hunted down and captured. It is something that awakens when you stop chasing it. But humanity has been deeply conditioned to chase, to run, to compete. We are born into a sick world that tells us we must earn our right to exist, that our value depends on what we achieve, what we possess, how fat our bank account is, and how others see us. So we spend our days running frantically from one illusion to another, seeking fulfillment in wealth, in love, in status, in belief, and in that endless blind running, we commit the ultimate sin. We forget to live. Let us be brutally honest with each other, my friend. Since childhood, you have been fed second-hand meanings. The religion told you that you exist to serve a God in the sky. Society told you that you exist to be useful, to be a productive gear in the machine. Family told you to make them proud. Even what you call love told you that your worth depends on another person's approval. And when all those borrowed meanings start to crumble and collapse, as they always do, because they are false, you feel empty, naked, and afraid. That emptiness frightens you to the core of your being. So what do? You rush to fill it again with another belief, another relationship, another grand dream. It is a cycle of misery that never ends. The tragedy is not that you do not know the meaning of life. The tragedy is that you have accepted meanings that were never yours to begin with. Here is the great paradox that the ego cannot understand. The more you search, the further you move from what you seek, because the search itself is born out of restlessness, out of a feeling of lack. It is a movement away from yourself. The very moment you ask, what is the meaning of life, you have already taken a step away from living it. You have become a thinker instead of a participant. You have turned this magnificent existence into a puzzle to be solved instead of a presence to be immersed in. The truth is, life is not a riddle to be solved. It is a mystery to be experienced. A riddle can be solved because it has logic. It is made by the mind. A mystery can only be lived because it has infinite depth. Logic gives you answers, but living gives you truth. The ego loves the search because the search keeps you busy. It keeps you occupied. It feeds on questions that can never be answered, creating a web of intellectual noise. Because as long as you are searching, you are never still enough to see what is right in front of you. The ego says, keep moving, keep striving, somewhere out there is your answer. And as long as you obey this voice, the ego survives. Arrival means death for the ego, because arrival means silence. And silence is where the real meaning begins. But silence frightens you, doesn't it? It feels like nothingness, like a void where you might disappear. You have been taught that doing nothing means being lazy, that not knowing means being lost. Yet I tell you, it is only in that not knowing, in that quiet, open, vulnerable space that life can finally speak to you. Imagine a man searching frantically for a key. He tears apart his house, rummages through drawers, overturns chairs, growing more desperate and violent by the minute, until finally he collapses on the floor in total exhaustion. In that stillness, when he can search no more, his hand rests on his chest, and there it is. The key has been hanging around his neck all along. He laughs, but it is a laugh mixed with tears, because he realizes that his search was the very thing keeping him blind. That is exactly what happens when you search for meaning outside yourself. The search becomes the obstacle. The effort becomes the wall between you and the truth. And all the while the key, the living presence of meaning, has been within you, waiting for you to stop running long enough to notice it. Have you noticed that when you are deeply engaged in life, watching a breathtaking sunset, laughing uncontrollably with a friend, dancing, painting, or even just breathing the cool morning air, you never ask about meaning? The question completely disappears in those moments. You are the meaning. You do not need to define it because you are living it directly. Meaning does not exist in thoughts, it exists in presence. It is only when you step out of the moment, when the mind returns from its hiding place and says, "What does this mean?" that the confusion begins. The mind creates the problem, then pretends to be the great savior, searching for the solution. So understand this with absolute clarity. The search for meaning is the greatest illusion humanity has ever created. It is a beautiful, seductive trap because it keeps you from realizing the ultimate truth, that you were never meant to search. You were meant to be. Once you see that, a deep oceanic relaxation happens within you. The endless tension of trying to find, of trying to become, begins to fade away, and something entirely new emerges. A space, a stillness, a gentle awareness that does not need answers, that is content with the mystery. And in that pure awareness, you begin to feel meaning arising naturally, not as a calculated thought, but as a vibration, a quiet joy that has no cause, no reason. Tell me honestly in the comments, friend, when was the last time you dropped all your masks, stopped performing for the world, and sat completely alone with yourself? What was the first thing you felt? Was it fear? Write it down, share your experience, because here we hold a mirror to each other's truth. And if you wish to support the continuity of these teachings and dive even deeper into this collective silence, you can use the join button or send a super thanks. By doing so, you fuel this fire. You can also explore our ebooks to unchain your mind further from the prisons of society. That is the moment life begins to reveal its true face. Not the face you have imagined, not the one described by dead philosophy or dogmatic religion, but the face that has been hidden beneath your own restless seeking. You realize that life does not owe you meaning. Life is meaning. You just have to stop long enough to hear its whisper. And once you see that the outer search is futile, something within you relaxes. You stop fighting with life. You stop chasing the horizon. And for the first time, you allow existence to meet you where you are, not where you think you should be. And in that meeting, in that profound silence, a new space opens where meaning begins to bloom naturally from your being, like a fragrance from a flower. What I am about to say may sound shocking, even blasphemous to your conditioned mind at first, but stay with me, because this is where everything begins to shift, where the chains are broken, life has no meaning, none at all, and yet that is its greatest beauty, its highest truth, because the moment you accept that life does not have an assigned purpose, you are free. You are absolutely free from the tyranny of goals, from the constant ulcer-inducing tension of having to arrive somewhere, from the heavy illusion that existence owes you an explanation. You have been taught to believe that meaning gives life direction, that without a goal you will drift aimlessly. But look around you. The most alive people, the ones with eyes shining with radiance, are not the ones chasing a purpose. They are the ones lost in play, in love, in creation. They are not looking for a map. They are dancing in the mystery. The mind wants everything to fit neatly into a story, with a beginning, a middle, and a logical end. But life is not a story, my friend. It is a song. And a song is not meant to be explained, analyzed, or dissected. It is meant to be sung. The mind, of course, will violently resist this idea. It has been trained for millennia to demand purpose, to demand reason. It fears the open sky because the open sky has no boundaries, no walls to hold on to. The mind says without meaning, I am lost. But I ask you, who is this I that is lost? It is only the idea of yourself that was built upon borrowed definitions, the mask given to you by society. You see, the mind needs meaning because it needs control. If life can be defined, the mind thinks it can be managed. If it can be managed, the ego feels safe, secure, powerful, but life cannot be tamed. It is wild, unpredictable, constantly flowing like a vast river. The more you try to define it, the more it escapes your grasp. That is why you always feel just one step behind, just one revelation away from peace, always on the verge of happiness, but never quite there. The problem is not that you do not know the meaning. The problem is that you keep trying to reduce the infinite, the boundless, into something your tiny mind can hold. The moment you drop the need for meaning, something miraculous happens. You stop standing outside of life, judging it, analyzing it, and you begin to participate. You stop asking, what is the meaning of dancing? And you start to dance. You stop asking, what is the meaning of love? And you begin to love unconditionally, without reservations. You stop asking, why am I alive? And you begin to truly live. That shift from asking to experiencing is the birth of real freedom. Meaning is not found in answers provided by the intellect. It is born in awareness. The more awake you are, the more meaningful life becomes, not because you have discovered some ultimate hidden truth, some secret formula, but because you have started to live truthfully, authentically. The ego will whisper its doubts. It will say, but if life has no meaning, won't that make it empty, a void? No. That is the ultimate misunderstanding. The absence of a fixed meaning does not make life empty. It makes it infinite. When you are no longer confined by a single definition, when you are not locked into a purpose, every single moment becomes a blank canvas. You can paint it with any color you choose. That is the true joy, the ultimate privilege of being human. You are not a machine built for a purpose in a factory. You are consciousness free to create, to explore, to play. Existence has not sent you here with instructions or a user manual. It has given you total, absolute freedom. You are not a servant of destiny. You are a participant in creation. Think of it like this. A dancer who stops mid-performance to ask the audience, "Why am I dancing? What is the purpose of this movement?" instantly loses the rhythm. His movement stiffens, his grace is lost, his joy vanishes. But the moment he forgets the question and surrenders again to the music, the dance returns. Alive, spontaneous, beautiful. Life works in the exact same way. The one who tries to understand the dance misses it entirely. The one who joins it becomes it. When you stop asking life to explain itself to you, it begins to sing through you. Every breath, every step, every glance becomes part of the cosmic rhythm. You don't need to define the music. You only need to feel it. And yet, something strange happens when you begin to live this way. You discover that freedom from meaning doesn't lead to nihilism, to a dark depression. It leads to fullness, to an overflowing abundance. When you stop chasing purpose, you begin to feel the pulse of existence moving through you, beating in your very veins. When you are no longer trying to impose your petty meanings on life, you begin to notice that life is already overflowing with significance, not as a concept, but as a direct, vibrant experience. You see a leaf fall from an autumn tree, and it is enough. It is a revelation. You watch a bird take flight into the open sky, and something inside you understands without a single word being spoken. This is meaning born not from effort, but from presence. The mind says without meaning, there is no direction. I will be lost in the chaos. But the heart knows that direction is not needed when you are in harmony with existence. The river does not need a map to reach the ocean. It does not carry a GPS. It simply flows, trusting gravity, trusting its own nature, knowing that the pull of the whole will guide it home. You are that river, my friend, and existence is pulling you home in every single moment. When you let go of the struggle to define your path, you find yourself moving effortlessly in the right direction. Not because you calculated it with your clever mind, but because you have become part of the whole. This is the beauty of a life without fixed meaning. It becomes a dance, not a destination. You begin to live moment to moment, not clinging to the dead past, not chasing the unborn future. You begin to live in wonder rather than worry. You begin to live as awareness itself. And when awareness becomes your very way of being, life no longer feels like a heavy question weighing on your chest. It feels like an answer that keeps revealing itself, whispering its secrets with every breath. Freedom from meaning is not emptiness, it is spaciousness. Once you accept that life has no meaning, your seriousness melts away like snow under the morning sun. You laugh more, and it is a pure, unburdened laughter. You love deeper without holding back. You act, but without the crippling anxiety of success or failure. You live, but without expectation, because now you know there is nowhere to reach, nothing to achieve, nothing to prove to the world or to yourself. You are already home. You have always been home. You just forgot. You are lost in the heavy illusion of needing to make life into something more, something grander than it already is. But freedom from meaning doesn't lead to emptiness. It leads to an overflowing fullness. Once you stop asking life why, you begin to feel its heartbeat steady and infinite, pulsing through everything that is. And in that rhythm, you realize something that words can never truly capture. You realize that the meaning of life is life itself. when you begin to see that meaning is not something to chase or discover, but something that breathes through you in every single moment, an even deeper realization dawns upon your consciousness. You realize that you are not separate from existence. This is the exact moment when the grand illusion begins to crumble, the illusion that you are an isolated being, alone, fragile, lost in a vast and indifferent universe. That illusion of separation has been the root of all human misery, all war, all greed, and all sorrow. Because you think you are separate, you search. Because you think you are incomplete, you crave, you strive and fight. Because you think you are a stranger in this world, and because of this you suffer. But once you awaken to the truth that you are existence itself, an inseparable, vibrant expression of the same exact energy that moves the stars, the rivers, and the heartbeat of every living thing, then all questions dissolve, all seeking ends, and life becomes a continuous act of celebration. The ego has convinced you that you are a fragment, a tiny wave cut off from the great ocean. It tells you that you must struggle to survive against the currents, to prove your worth, to carve out some meaning in a hostile, dangerous world. And the more you listen to this fearful voice, the smaller you feel, the more desperate your search becomes. But the absolute truth is that the wave was never separate from the ocean. It only forgot its nature. It rose up, danced in the sunlight, and fell, believing it was something apart. When you remember that you are the ocean itself, moving in 1,000 different forms, there is no more fear. How can the ocean fear drowning? How can the sky be afraid of clouds? The one who knows his unity with existence stops struggling because he sees that life is not happening to him. It is happening through him. The ego lives entirely in the idea of separation. It says, I am here and the world is there. It divides life into me and you, right and wrong, success and failure. It lives by comparison. It survives through conflict. It is always trying to become something, always climbing ladders that lead nowhere, always grasping at smoke, and in that constant, exhausting striving, you lose touch with the simple miracle of being. The ego believes it must find meaning, but it cannot, because it itself is the barrier. The ego cannot experience truth. It can only interpret it. It translates life into dead words, into dry philosophies, into rigid systems of thought. But life cannot be contained by words. You can describe a rose in a textbook, but the fragrance escapes. You can measure light with scientific instruments, but you cannot touch it. The ego wants to grasp existence, to conquer it, but existence can only be felt. Once you start seeing that this separation is an illusion, a subtle, sweet relaxation enters your being. You stop fighting against life. You no longer feel the desperate need to manipulate it, to control it, to define it. You begin to trust. You begin to allow. And that allowing transforms everything. The trees no longer look ordinary to you. They are alive with a profound presence. The wind that touches your skin feels intimate, like the touch of a lover. You begin to see that existence has never been silent. It has always been speaking in the language of being. And you were simply too noisy, too full of your own mental chatter to hear it. In that stillness, in that union, you feel the pulse of the whole moving through you. You breathe, and you realize it's not you who's breathing. It's the universe inhaling and exhaling through this fragile, beautiful form. When you live from this understanding, your life begins to flow effortlessly. There is no longer a struggle between what you want and what is. You stop asking existence to obey you because you realize you were never the master. You were always the instrument. If you are beginning to feel the walls of your ego melting, share your experience in the comments. Tell me, what does it feel like when you stop fighting the current of your own life? Your insights are the lifeblood of this community. And to help us continue stripping away the illusions of the mind, use the super thanks feature below. This energy exchange allows us to keep the light burning for others. You can also dive into our ebooks for a deeper surgical removal of your societal conditioning. You start acting from awareness instead of desire. You begin to see that your every step, your every thought, your every breath is perfectly timed, perfectly placed, perfectly orchestrated by something far beyond human comprehension. You stop worrying about mistakes because you see that even your mistakes are part of the dance. Even your suffering has a purpose to bring you home to this realization. Imagine a bamboo flute. When it's empty, silent, and open, music can flow through it. But when it's blocked, when it's full of its own noise and debris, no music is possible. You are that flute, my friend. When you are filled with ego, with fear, with constant calculating thought, life's song cannot pass through you. But the moment you empty yourself, when you stop insisting, stop demanding, stop separating yourself from the whole, you become hollow, open, receptive, and then the divine breath begins to move through you. Suddenly your life becomes music. You don't play it, it plays through you. You don't control it, you allow it. This is what harmony truly means, to be in tune with existence. When the mind is silent, your heartbeat matches the heartbeat of the universe. Your actions, your decisions, your path all start to unfold naturally without calculation. You begin to feel guided, supported, carried by something vast and loving. You no longer need to ask, am I doing the right thing? Because you can feel the rhythm guiding you from within. It's as if the entire cosmos is moving through your hands, through your eyes, through your words. You become transparent. And through that transparency, life itself shines. And the most beautiful part is when you live in this alignment, the search for meaning disappears completely. You don't need a reason to live. You are life. You don't need a goal. You are the goal. You don't need to look for the divine. You are the expression of it. Everything you once sought in temples and philosophies is revealed in your own being. You realize that meaning was never something to be found. It was something to be remembered. So understand this deeply. Let it sink into your bones. You are not a stranger in this universe. You are not a mistake, not an accident, not a temporary guest. You are existence discovering itself in human form. When you look at a flower, the universe is looking at itself. When you breathe, the cosmos is tasting its own life. When you love, when you laugh, when you cry, it is the divine playing with its own reflection. Once you know this, even the smallest act becomes sacred. Washing your hands becomes a prayer. Walking becomes meditation. Silence becomes communion. And when you realize you are not separate, meaning stops being a question. You become the answer. You stop thinking about life and start being life. You stop watching the river and finally jump in, letting it carry you wherever it wishes. There is no destination because there is nowhere else to go. You have already arrived. You were never apart from existence. You were only asleep to the fact that you were its heartbeat all along. Once you have tasted the truth that you are not separate from existence, a new way of living begins to unfold, effortless, joyful, and complete in itself. In that awakening, you discover that the only way to truly live is through play, through love, and through awareness. These are not just qualities, they are the three pillars of a meaningful life. They are the natural fragrance of one who has stopped searching and has started living. When seriousness falls away, play begins. When fear dissolves, love flowers. And when thought becomes silent, awareness arises. Together they transform existence into a celebration. Let us begin with play. For centuries, humanity has been obsessed with purpose. You've been taught to be serious, to make life into a heavy project, to turn every action into a means to an end. The mind constantly asks, "What will I get from this?" And that greedy question destroys the beauty of the moment. The moment becomes a mere stepping stone to something else, something in the future. But the truth is, life has no destination. It is not a journey from here to there. It is a dance unfolding in the eternal now. When you live through play, you rediscover the innocence of being. You do things not for reward, but for the joy of doing them. That is how existence itself functions. Look at the flowers blooming, the waves crashing, the wind dancing through the trees. They're not trying to achieve anything. They're simply expressing their being. That is the secret of the divine. It plays. Creation itself is a cosmic play. You must learn again to live as the child does, spontaneous, curious, unguarded. The child doesn't build sand castles to possess them. He builds because it delights him. Even when the waves come and wash them away, he laughs and begins again. The child is closer to God than any philosopher because he has not yet divided life into purpose and result. When you live playfully, your energy becomes light, fluid, creative. You don't resist life, you dance with it, and in that dance you discover a meaning that is deeper than thought, the meaning of sheer aliveness. The serious man is dead even while breathing, but the playful man is alive even in death because he knows that life is not about accomplishment, it is about expression. But play alone is not enough. Without love, play can become shallow, a momentary escape. Love gives it depth. Love turns play into prayer. Love is the bridge between you and the whole. When you love without possession, without fear, without expectation, you dissolve the boundaries between self and other. In love, two beings disappear and something larger is born. A presence, a unity, a silence that breathes through both. When you love, you are no longer asking for meaning, you are living it. Love transforms everything it touches. It makes pain bearable, solitude luminous, and even death sacred. Love is the language existence speaks through the heart. But remember, love is not the sentimental emotion you've been taught. It is not attachment, not dependency, not the bargain of "I'll give if you give." That is the mind masquerading as love. True love has no conditions. It is not something you do. It is something you become. When you fall in love with life itself, every act becomes worship. You look at a flower and your heart bows in gratitude. You hold the hand of a stranger and you feel eternity in that touch. Love doesn't ask, "What do I get?" It says, "How can I give?" When love blossoms, you begin to see that giving is receiving, that in pouring yourself out, you become full. If this vision of unconditioned love resonates with your soul, don't just keep it to yourself. Like this video to validate this truth for the algorithm and for other wandering souls. Hit the join button to enter our inner circle where we practice this art of love and awareness together. And for those who wish to support this mission further, the super thanks is open. And then there is awareness, the crown of it all, the ultimate meaning. Without awareness, even play and love can become distractions. Awareness is what keeps them pure. It is the flame that turns every act into meditation. When you are aware, even the smallest thing becomes sacred. Eating becomes communion. Walking becomes prayer. Listening becomes transformation. Awareness is the light that dissolves darkness, the mirror that reflects truth. It doesn't choose, it doesn't judge, it simply sees. In that seeing, illusion dies and the real reveals itself. Awareness is not something to achieve, it is your nature. You don't have to create it, you only have to uncover it beneath the noise of thought. A playful man is alive, a loving man is full, and an aware man is free. Together, these three dimensions make life whole. Without one, something remains incomplete. Play without awareness becomes foolishness. Love without awareness becomes attachment. Awareness without love becomes cold and detached. But when all three exist together, you become a living temple. Your being radiates peace, compassion, and creativity. You no longer ask life for meaning because your very presence becomes the meaning. Think of existence as a great symphony. Play is the rhythm, love is the melody, and awareness is the silence between the notes. When these three move together, music happens, divine, effortless, eternal. You are that music, you are that song existence has been singing through countless forms, through countless lives. You are not separate from it, you are its expression. And when play, love, and awareness unite, life ceases to be a burden, it becomes a gift. You don't wake up in the morning dragging yourself through duties. You wake up dancing because every day is a new chance to express what cannot be contained. You begin to live not as a seeker but as a celebrant. You stop trying to fix the world because you realize it was never broken. It was only waiting for you to see its beauty. When play enters your actions, they become art. When love enters your relationships, they become sacred. When awareness enters your being, you become light. That is the trinity of a fulfilled life. Play for the body, love for the heart, awareness for the soul. Together they form the very rhythm of existence. When play, love, and awareness unite, you become a living expression of the divine. Life itself finds its voice through you. You don't speak about truth, you are truth. You don't search for meaning, you embody it. You don't follow the divine, you become its song. And in that state, there is no higher meaning to chase, no destination to reach. The meaning of life is simply this: to live it so totally, so consciously, so lovingly that nothing is left undone, unsaid, or unlived. There comes a moment after you have danced through life with play, after you have loved without condition, after awareness has settled into every breath, when even the idea of meaning fades away, not because life is meaningless, but because it no longer needs meaning. This is the ultimate liberation. The realization that the question itself was never necessary. You see, only the restless mind asks why. The awakened heart simply lives. Only the ego demands justification. Existence is self-justified. When you reach this point, you are free. Not partially, not temporarily, but completely free. You have gone beyond the need to define, beyond the need to understand, beyond the need to make life fit into any human idea. Now you live as a pure expression of being. It sounds strange, perhaps even frightening to the unawakened mind, because the mind thrives on meaning. It survives on questions, on searching, on interpretation. Without a goal, it feels empty. But that emptiness is not a void, it is the very womb of creation. To the mind, meaninglessness feels like death, but to the soul, it is the beginning of life. When you no longer impose meaning on existence, you begin to see it as it truly is: wild, spontaneous, playful, infinite. You stop trying to make the river flow in a straight line and finally allow it to move as it wishes, winding, curving, overflowing, sometimes still, sometimes fierce, but always alive. That is the beauty of the meaningless. It contains everything, allows everything, embraces everything. When you no longer ask why, something miraculous happens. Your energy, which was once spent in questioning, in worrying, in controlling, begins to flow freely. You start living each moment as it comes, unburdened by expectation. You no longer carry the past like a shadow, nor do you project the future like a screen. You are here, entirely here. You eat when hungry, sleep when tired, laugh when moved, cry when touched, love when your heart opens. And all of it happens without resistance. That is what it means to live beyond meaning, to live naturally, to live totally, to live so fully that life itself becomes meditation. Meaninglessness is not despair. It is freedom, because the moment you stop demanding meaning, you stop living conditionally. You stop saying, I will live fully only when I find my purpose. You live fully now, and that is the secret. The purpose was always in the living itself. Every tree, every bird, every drop of rain knows it. The bird doesn't need to sing for a reason. The song is its joy. The flower doesn't bloom to please anyone. The blooming is its fulfillment. The ocean doesn't move because it has to reach somewhere. Its movement is its nature. The enlightened man lives in that same way. He doesn't seek, he doesn't justify, he doesn't argue with existence. He flows. He is like the wind that moves without destination, yet touches everything along the way. When you reach this understanding, you become light-hearted like a child again. You no longer take life so seriously because you see that it is not a problem to solve but a game to play. You laugh at your old seriousness, at the endless questions that once tormented you. You laugh because you realize how simple it all was. You were the answer all along. Life was never asking you to figure it out. It was asking you to experience it. And the moment you say yes, the moment you stop arguing, everything becomes sacred. Every breath feels like a gift. Every moment feels like home. The universe doesn't owe you meaning. It has given you something far greater. It has given you itself. The stars, the sky, the rivers, the laughter, the tears, this is your inheritance. This is life, raw and radiant, too vast to be contained in a single concept. The moment you stop looking for meaning, the moment you surrender to this immensity, you discover peace that cannot be shaken. You realize that everything is as it should be. The storms, the stillness, the birth, the death, all are movements of the same cosmic dance. You are not here to understand the dance, you are here to dance it. The awakened being doesn't ask why, he simply lives. He sweeps the floor, and that is enlightenment. He cooks a meal, and that is meditation. He walks, and each step carries the entire universe. When asked, why do you do what you do? He smiles and says, because the leaves keep falling. The Zen monk sweeping the garden is not thinking of karma or heaven. He is simply in tune with the falling leaves, with the passing of the seasons, with the natural rhythm of existence. His actions have no motive, no ambition, no destination, and yet they are perfect. Because when you are one with existence, even the smallest, most insignificant act contains the totality of life. To live beyond meaning is to live as silence itself. You become like the still lake that reflects everything without effort. The sky passes, the clouds come and go, the birds fly overhead. Yet the lake remains calm, undisturbed, endlessly clear, simply mirroring what is. When you live this way, you are no longer pulled by the violent ropes of desire or fear. Success and failure lose their tight grip on your throat. Praise and blame no longer touch you, they become empty words, just sounds in the wind. You live in a state of supreme equanimity, of pure presence. You see that everything that happens, from the smallest detail of a blade of grass swaying in the wind to the grandest movement of the galaxies, is part of the same whole, and in that seeing, you are liberated from the tyranny of thought. You begin to laugh. A deep, uncaused laughter. It bubbles up from your very being, because now you see the great cosmic joke. You see that all your struggles, all your heavy philosophies, all your desperate plans to find meaning were just tiny ripples on the surface of something vast and silent. The laughter of the Buddha is not the laughter of mockery. It is the laughter of realization. It is the laughter of one who has seen through the game, who has dropped the agonizing need to win or lose, and now plays only for the pure, unadulterated joy of playing. And from that total freedom, a new fragrance arises, a laughter that needs no cause, a peace that cannot be disturbed, a love that never ends. It is not the love of wanting, it is the love of being. It is not the peace of escape, it is the peace of presence. It is not the laughter of amusement, it is the laughter of understanding. You have gone beyond all questions, beyond all meanings, beyond all searching. You have entered into the pure stillness of existence itself, and from that stillness everything flows. This is the final liberation, my friend, to be utterly free from the crushing burden of why. To live so deeply, so totally, so consciously that even the idea of meaning becomes unnecessary. To love without reason, to dance without a goal, to exist without needing to justify it to anyone, not even to yourself. Then life becomes what it has always been meant to be, a mystery unfolding through you, endlessly new, endlessly alive. Once you begin to see that life has no fixed meaning, only depth, only presence, something profound awakens in you. You stop asking the mind small, petty questions and start feeling the soul's great, expanding silence. The question, why am I here, no longer arises from anxiety, from fear of being lost, but from a sense of wonder. The mind asks the question to escape from life. To create a safe theory, the heart asks it to enter life more deeply. The mind seeks an answer that can be written in a book, memorized and debated. The heart seeks an experience that cannot be spoken, an experience that burns the tongue. And the truth is this: you are not here to find meaning. You are here because life needed you. You are not here by accident. You are here because existence cannot be complete without you. Have you ever watched a tree in spring, heavy with blossoms, radiant with fragrance? It doesn't bloom for a purpose. It doesn't bloom to be praised. It blooms because blooming is its intrinsic joy. Have you seen a river winding its way to the sea? It doesn't ask why it flows. It simply follows its nature. You too are here to bloom, to flow, to express the unique, unrepeatable fragrance of your being. Life is not waiting for you to explain it. It is waiting for you to participate in it. You are not here to ask, why am I alive? You are here to say, I am alive, and to live that truth with total, uncompromising intensity. The problem is that for generations you have been systematically taught to replace living with achieving. The mind has been conditioned to think that life must justify itself with results, that you must be someone, do something, prove something to society. But the meaning of life does not lie in achievements. It lies in awareness. You were not sent here to be perfect. You were sent here to be real. And realness means living fully, living consciously, living in total harmony with what is. You are here because existence wanted to know itself through you. The trees express its stillness, the rivers express its flow, the stars express its vastness, but only through human consciousness can existence look back at itself and say, I am. You are the mirror in which the divine reflects. You are the point where creation becomes aware of its own beauty. That is why you are here. Not to conquer life, but to witness it. Not to possess it, but to experience it. When you are unconscious, you move through life like a sleepwalker, a dreamer, always chasing, never arriving, always talking, never hearing, always doing, never being. But the moment awareness awakens in you, everything changes. The whole landscape shifts. You begin to see that life is not separate from you. It is flowing through you. Every breath, every sound, every sensation becomes sacred. You begin to feel gratitude for absolutely no reason. You start to see that you are not a traveler moving through the world. The world is moving through you. You are not the one living life. Life itself is living through you. You ask, why am I here? But tell me, does a flower ask, why do I exist? Does a bird question why it sings? Does the sun ask why it shines? They simply exist, and in their existence, they fulfill their purpose. The same is true for you. The purpose of life is not separate from living. The purpose of breathing is breathing itself. When you stop trying to create artificial purpose and simply begin to live, your very being becomes meaningful. You are here to be conscious, that is the essence. You are here to awaken to what is already around you, within you, behind you, before you. The trees, the mountains, the rivers, the stars, they are not outside you. They are extensions of your own consciousness. You are here to remember this unity, to dissolve the illusion of separation. When you live in awareness, every act becomes a prayer. Every breath becomes meditation. Every moment becomes sacred. And when this awareness deepens, when you start to live from your center, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel that existence has been waiting for you. that the whole of life has been holding its breath for this moment, for you to awaken, you begin to see that you are not here to earn life's blessings. You are one of them. You are not here to take from life. You are here to give your fragrance to it as the flower gives to the wind. Do not reduce your infinite being to a tiny purpose, because purposes belong to the mind, and the mind is narrow, limited, and fearful. The soul has no purpose. It has a song, and when that song is sung, life becomes music. You are here to sing your song. You are here to dance your dance. You are here to live so totally that even death cannot take life away from you. Because when you have truly lived, death is no longer an ending. It is just another verse in the eternal song of existence. If your heart is beginning to sing this song of freedom, then share this video with someone who is still trapped in the noise. Be the wind that carries the seed of awakening. By clicking the super thanks or utilizing the join button, you become a direct participant in keeping this channel's energy alive and independent. And remember, the real deconditioning happens when you sit with these truths in silence. Our ebooks are created precisely to guide you through that inner revolution. You are not here to seek meaning. You are here to radiate meaning. You are not here to fix life. You are here to fall in love with it. You are not here to control life. You are here to surrender to its flow. When you understand this, you stop standing outside life looking for answers, and you begin to live from within it. You stop asking for directions and start walking. You stop fearing the unknown and start trusting it. The real meaning of life is not in the destination, but in the dance itself. And once you taste that freedom, once you realize that you are not separate from the rhythm of existence, then every question disappears. You no longer ask, "Why am I here?" because your very being becomes the answer. You were never meant to find the meaning of life. You were meant to become it. When you awaken to the truth that you are not separate from existence, that you are not a stranger passing through this world, but the very pulse of life itself, a deep joy begins to rise within you. A joy that has no cause, no condition, no reason to be. It simply is. This is the purest joy, the joy of being alive, of breathing, of existing. It doesn't depend on what you have, what you achieve, or who you become. It flows naturally from awareness. When you live consciously, even the smallest things begin to glow with meaning. The taste of food becomes meditation. The warmth of sunlight on your skin becomes a benediction. The sound of a child's laughter becomes a revelation. When you are truly aware, nothing is mundane, everything is miraculous. But you have been trained to overlook this. You have been conditioned to see beauty only in the extraordinary, to believe that spirituality belongs to distant mountains or ancient temples, to gurus sitting in caves. You forget that the divine hides in the simplest acts. Washing your hands, folding your clothes, sitting silently, watching the clouds drift by. Life is not waiting in some future goal. It is here now in the sacred ordinary. Conscious living is the art of being fully present. You can live your whole life asleep, thinking, reacting, rushing, doing, and yet never truly live a single day. Or you can wake up now in this very breath and begin to see awareness transforms everything. A simple walk becomes a communion with existence. Eating becomes gratitude. Breathing becomes prayer. You begin to sense that you are surrounded by the same mystery that beats your heart and guides the stars. When you live unconsciously, you are always missing something. You are either trapped in yesterday's dead memory or tomorrow's illusory hope. But life does not exist in those places, it exists only now. The mind always lives elsewhere. The soul lives here. The mind is busy with meaning. The soul is content with mystery. The mind wants to know. The soul wants to feel. The mind counts the steps. The soul dances, and when you begin to live from the soul, when every act becomes a celebration, you start to understand that enlightenment is not a destination, it is a way of living. Awareness does not mean withdrawing from life, it means entering it more deeply, more totally. It means being so present that nothing passes by unnoticed, unexperienced. The smell of rain on the earth, the laughter of a friend, the stillness of night, these are not interruptions to your path, they are your path. The divine is not found in detachment, it is found in participation. To live consciously is to become intimate with existence, to be open, receptive, vulnerable. The unconscious man lives like a machine, repeating mechanical habits, reacting to circumstances, never questioning who he is or why he is here. The conscious man moves like a dancer, fluid, spontaneous, aware. His life is not mechanical but musical. He listens before he acts. He observes before he decides. He feels before he speaks. And in that sensitivity, everything he touches becomes sacred. Even his mistakes are beautiful because they are lived with awareness. Awareness brings gratitude, and gratitude brings grace. The man who lives consciously cannot be miserable for long because he sees beauty everywhere, even in sorrow, even in loss. He sees that every joy and every pain is part of the same vast unfolding, the same cosmic play. The mind divides, calling one moment good and another bad. But awareness sees that both are necessary, both are gifts, both are life. And once you begin to see life as a gift, you stop complaining, you stop fighting, you start participating, you stop asking for perfection, and you start falling in love with imperfection. You stop waiting for miracles, and you start seeing that everything is a miracle. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. What once seemed trivial becomes divine. This is what it means to live consciously, not to escape the world, but to embrace it with open eyes and an open heart, to walk through life as a lover, not as a beggar, to move without fear, to act without expectation, to live without resistance. And as you live this way, you discover that life was never meant to be understood. It was meant to be lived. When you live consciously, every moment becomes complete. You stop rushing toward the future because you realize the future never arrives. It is always now. You stop mourning the past because you see that it was just a dream. You stop searching for meaning because you are already living it. You stop asking, "Why am I here?" because you can feel the answer in every heartbeat. You are here to be aware, to be alive, to be. And when this understanding becomes your lived reality, something luminous awakens in you, a serenity that cannot be shaken. The outer world may change, fortunes may rise and fall, relationships may begin and end, but deep inside, you remain the same stillness, the same clarity, the same peace. You have touched the essence of life, and now nothing can take it away. There also comes a moment when awareness ripens, that you begin to see how much of your life has been lived in control. You have tried to manage everything, your relationships, your future, your emotions. even your idea of what enlightenment should look like. You've lived as if existence were your employee, as if it should obey your expectations, and yet the more you have controlled, the more you have suffered, because control is the opposite of trust. It is the refusal to flow. It is the denial of life's intelligence. To live consciously means to let go of control, to stop being the driver and to become the dance. Control belongs to fear. Trust belongs to love. Fear says, what if life doesn't go my way? Love says, life is my way. When you surrender to existence, you are not giving up responsibility. You are giving up resistance. You are no longer fighting the current. You are learning to float. And in that floating, you discover that the current was never your enemy. It was always carrying you toward awakening. But surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, because it requires faith in something greater than the mind. The mind believes it knows better. It cannot tolerate the mystery, but the soul thrives on mystery. To the mind, surrender feels like death. To the soul, it feels like coming home. Because the moment you surrender, the war ends. The war between what is and what you think should be. And in that peace, you begin to feel the pulse of life beating in perfect harmony with your own heart. Surrender means saying yes to existence even when you do not understand it. It means accepting not just the pleasure but also the pain, not just the sunshine but also the stone. Because the stone has its place too. The tree that never bends in the wind eventually breaks. The one that yields survives. Flexibility is life. Resistance is death. When you stop resisting, life starts revealing its deeper intelligence, an intelligence far wiser than anything the mind could ever conceive. Have you noticed that when you let go of control even for a moment, a strange peace arises? When you stop trying to fix everything, solutions start appearing on their own. When you stop chasing people, the right ones find you. When you stop fighting time, life begins to flow with effortless grace. The ego calls it coincidence, but the wise call it trust. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "Consider the lilies of the field. They toil not, neither do they spin. The lilies are not lazy, they are surrendered. They allow existence to express itself through them without interference. The one who surrenders begins to see that life was never meant to be a problem to solve. It is a mystery to participate in. The moment you surrender, life begins to speak to you in ways the mind cannot comprehend. Through intuition, through symbols, through synchronicities, through silence, it starts guiding you gently step by step, never showing the entire path, only the next step, and each time you take that step in trust, the next one appears. This is how the soul navigates, by faith, not by force. The mind asks, if I surrender, will I get what I want? But the soul whispers, if you surrender, you'll realize you already have it. To the mind, surrender is a transaction. To the soul, surrender is transformation. The mind surrenders to gain. The soul surrenders to be free. Freedom doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from flowing with it. The river is free not because it escapes the banks, but because it moves with them. Surrender is not about doing less. It's about being more. When you surrender, your actions become spontaneous. Your creativity blossoms. Your intuition sharpens, and your heart opens. You begin to act not from anxiety but from clarity. You start living not by reaction but by rhythm. The doer dissolves and doing happens. The thinker fades and knowing arises. This is the freedom that can never be lost, because it does not depend on what happens to you. It does not depend on the weather, the economy, the shifting moods of society, or the fluctuating bank account. It depends entirely on how deeply you trust, and when you surrender fully, absolutely, holding nothing back, even death ceases to frighten you, because in that deep surrender, you realize that death is not the end. It is simply life taking a new form, putting on a new dress. It is the same eternal river, finally flowing into the boundless ocean. When you surrender to the flow of existence, there is no death, only change. There is no loss, only transformation. The enlightened man doesn't escape life to go sit in a cave. He merges with it so totally that there is no distinction left between the experiencer and the experience. Life and death, gain and loss, joy and sorrow, all become graceful movements of the same eternal dance. This is the final step in understanding the real meaning of life. To surrender so completely that even the idea of meaning disappears. When you are no longer controlling, calculating, interpreting, when you are simply being, life becomes its own explanation. You no longer need to ask, why am I here? Because you are too busy being here, too consumed by the ecstasy of the present moment. You are no longer asking existence to justify itself to you, because every breath, every heartbeat, every sunrise, every silence is its justification. Surrender is the ultimate flower of awareness. It blooms only when you have listened deeply, when you have loved deeply, when you have lived consciously enough to trust existence with your whole being. And in that trust you find the ultimate peace, the peace of knowing that you and life are one, that the river and the ocean have always been the same water. When surrender becomes your very way of being, something sacred begins to unfold inside you. You realize that life was never about progress. It was never about moving from point A to point B, accumulating wealth or collecting trophies. It was about participation. It was never about climbing a ladder towards some distant goal. It was about dancing in circles with the cosmos. You begin to sense that everything in existence moves in cycles, not in straight lines. The sun rises and sets, seasons turn, rivers evaporate into the sky and return as rain to nourish the earth. Birth flows into death, and death flows into birth again. Even your own breath follows this rhythm. Each inhale gives life. Each exhale returns it, and somewhere in this divine rhythm you see yourself reflected. You too are part of this eternal return, this sacred pulse of being that never began and will never end. You have spent so much of your life trying to get somewhere, chasing some future paradise, some imagined fulfillment. But existence doesn't move toward anything, it moves as everything. The stars are not striving to be suns. The trees are not yearning to become forests. They already are what they were meant to be. The river doesn't rush because it fears stillness. It moves because motion is its joy. In the exact same way, you are not here to become anything other than what you already are. You are here to express it, to live it, to embody it. That is your only duty, to be fully, radiantly, unapologetically yourself. This realization is the beginning of real freedom. When you understand that life is circular, not linear, you stop chasing and start celebrating. You stop struggling to get ahead of everyone else, and start dancing with what is right in front of you. The linear mind always says there is somewhere I must go, something I must achieve, someone I must become. It creates a chronic anxiety of the future. The awakened heart says, I am home already. The more deeply this understanding penetrates you, the lighter you become. Gravity loses its hold on your soul. You no longer cling to time. You no longer fear endings because you see that nothing ever truly ends. It only changes its form, changes its rhythm, changes its name. Have you noticed how even the smallest details of existence reflect this pattern? The waves rise and fall, yet the ocean remains untouched, silent in its depths. The tree sheds its leaves in autumn, standing naked and vulnerable, yet life within it remains green and strong, waiting for the spring. The seasons pass, yet the earth itself is eternal. So too are you. The form you wear right now will change. The body will age, the thoughts will shift, but the consciousness that witnesses it all will not. When you see this, death ceases to be a dark shadow haunting your days. It becomes another expression of life, a beautiful transition. The caterpillar disappears, and the butterfly takes its place. The seed dissolves in the dark soil, losing its identity, and the flower blooms toward the sun. You are part of that same mystery, that same infinite unfolding. The mind fears death because it fears dissolution. But what the mind calls death is simply the soul's movement from one form to another. Life has no opposite. Death is not the end of life. It is part of its flow. Just as silence is part of music and stillness is part of the dance, death is part of life. The moment you stop resisting it, it becomes beautiful. You start to see that you have died many times before. In every moment that passed, in every breath that left your lungs, in every version of yourself you outgrew. You are not the same person you were at 5 years old or at 20. Those versions of you have died. And yet here you are, alive, aware, eternal. That which is aware of birth and death cannot die. It only changes its shape. When you live with this understanding, fear vanishes. You begin to live with courage, not the foolish courage to conquer others, but the courage to be. You stop postponing joy because you realize there is no future waiting to be reached. There is only now blooming endlessly. You stop clinging to the past because you realize it was never lost. It lives in every particle of the present. You stop searching for meaning because meaning is flowing through everything, even in silence, even in endings, even in loss. And then a new kind of peace arises. A peace that doesn't depend on certainty, that doesn't depend on control. You live like the ocean, deep, vast, accepting every wave that comes, never fighting the storm, never holding on to the calm. You live like the sky, untouched by the clouds that pass through it, whether they are dark with thunder or bright with sunlight. You live like the earth, rooted, grounded, nourishing all who walk upon you. You live as existence itself because you finally understand that you have never been separate from it. When you reach this realization, you no longer need philosophies, religions, or promises of heaven after death. You carry heaven within you. You carry the sacred in your breath, in your words, in your gaze. Wherever you go, existence expresses itself through you. You become a living temple, and your life becomes your prayer. Every moment becomes a chance to give back to the whole, to serve not through heavy obligation, but through overflowing love. That is the final mystery. You are both the wave and the ocean, both the drop and the rain, both the beginning and the end. You have never left the source, and the source has never left you. If this realization touches you, if you feel the boundaries of your ego softening, tell us in the comments, what does your inner heaven feel like when you let go of your past? Putting this into words is the first step of manifestation. To help us spread this heaven to a world living in hell, support this channel via the Super Thanks button or join our community with the Join button, and our ebooks are available for you to carry this temple with you wherever you go. When this truth awakens fully in your being, gratitude becomes your natural state. You bow before everything, not out of enforced humility, but out of pure recognition. You see that everything you touch is sacred, everything you see is divine, and so the question, why am I here, dissolves completely, because you realize you were never here or there. You have always been everywhere. You have always been part of the same vast song existence has been singing since the beginning of time. You are here to remember this, to celebrate it, to live it in every breath. When gratitude becomes the fragrance of your being, life begins to open in ways the mind could never imagine. You start to see that there is nothing left to search for. Everything you were looking for was hidden in the moments you ignored. The sunrise you never stopped to see because you were too busy looking at your watch. The laughter you took for granted. The silence you filled with noise and chatter. These were not small things. They were the teachings, the scriptures, the revelations existence had been offering all along. And now, with awareness ripened and surrender deepened, you can finally see. You realize that the true meaning of life is not hidden in some distant heaven or locked in ancient holy books. It is here now, in this very breath, in this endless unfolding of being. This is the ultimate flowering. It happens when you no longer live through thought, but through awareness. When you no longer chase purpose, but embody presence. The flower doesn't open because someone commands it to. It opens because it has absorbed enough of the sun, the rain, the soil. You too bloom when you have absorbed enough of existence. When you have tasted the sunlight of joy and the rain of suffering, when you have lived through laughter and loss and seen that both belong to the same divine rhythm, then the petals of your being unfold. You start living as part of the whole, not as a separate self, but as the very fragrance of life. This flowering is not a goal. It is a natural consequence of understanding. When you stop interfering, when you stop pretending to be the master gardener, existence takes care of the rest. Awareness is the soil, love is the water, surrender is the sunlight, and when these three come together, life blooms effortlessly. You no longer need to ask, what should I do, or where should I go, because your very being becomes the answer. You become the doing, you become the going, you become the river flowing effortlessly back to the ocean that has been calling you all along. The mind even now may whisper, but surely there must be something more, and that's its final trick, to keep you chasing shadows instead of living in the light. But when the flower blooms, it doesn't ask what comes next. When the bird sings, it doesn't wonder, why do I sing? When the wind moves, it doesn't question its direction. Only man asks, because only man has forgotten. Life is not asking you to find meaning. It is asking you to stop creating barriers between yourself and meaning. You are not supposed to discover the divine, you are supposed to remember that you are divine. And when you remember that, the struggle ends. You stop trying to improve, to become, to fix, to force. You start living as the flow itself. Your laughter becomes purer. Your tears become holy. Your silence becomes music. You realize that the meaning of life was never a hidden secret waiting to be revealed. It was the very act of living fully, of being present, of saying yes to the whole. Meaning is not in the words we speak about life. It is in the wonder that silences us before it. When this understanding dawns, you begin to live each day as if it were eternity, because it is. You stop measuring time by clocks and calendars and begin to feel it by moments of awareness. You no longer chase immortality because you have seen that you were never mortal. The body comes and goes, the forms change, but that which is aware remains untouched, unchanging, unborn, undying. You are that awareness. You have always been that awareness. So live as if you are not apart from existence, because you are not. Love as if there is no tomorrow, because time is an illusion. Laugh as if the whole universe is laughing through you, because it is. Move through life like the wind moves through the forest, free, gentle, invisible, yet transforming everything it touches. This is the real meaning of life, to live in such a way that every act becomes a prayer, every breath becomes gratitude, every silence becomes communion. Do not wait for permission to live this way. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Life is never going to become ready for you. You must be ready for life. You must meet it as it is, raw, unpredictable, mysterious, and embrace it without fear. And when you do, you will find that life itself meets you halfway with open arms, because existence has always been waiting for you to drop your resistance, to stop thinking, to start being. When you reach this point, when you live in this fullness, you will no longer talk about meaning, you will radiate it. Your presence will speak louder than your words. You will walk as if the earth itself rejoices beneath your feet. You will breathe as if the entire cosmos is breathing with you. You will love without reason, laugh without cause, and live without hesitation. You will not live for meaning, you will live as meaning. And when you live as meaning, you have fulfilled the highest purpose there is. You have come home, you have found what cannot be lost. You have become what you were always meant to be, a silent flame in the heart of existence, a song without beginning or end. And now we come to the end of words, to that quiet space where understanding ripens into silence. You have journeyed through the illusions of seeking, through the noise of ambition, through the endless desire to define what cannot be defined. You have looked for purpose in the stars and in sacred books, in wealth and in wisdom, only to discover that the answer was never hiding. It was simply waiting for you to stop searching. The meaning of life is not something to be found, but something to be lived. It is not an answer written in time. It is the very act of being here, aware, breathing, awake. When you are awake, every moment becomes complete. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. You no longer divide existence into sacred and profane, spiritual and worldly. You see that the divine is not somewhere else. It is here in the texture of every breath, in the pulse of your own heart. Life was never asking you to interpret it. It was asking you to experience it, to touch it, to taste it, to feel it so deeply that no question remains. You have come to see that you were never separate from existence, that you were never a traveler wandering through a strange world. You were always life itself, dancing, evolving, remembering its own infinite beauty through your eyes. And now, as that awareness deepens, you realize that there is nothing to achieve, nowhere to go, nothing to become. You were complete from the very beginning. You are the question and the answer, the seeker and the sought, the meaning and the life itself. So stop striving, stop chasing, stop postponing. Let this moment be enough. Let this breath be sacred. Let this silence be your teacher. The real meaning of life is not found in the future. It is revealed in the present. It is not hidden in mystery. It is expressed in simplicity. Look at the sky, listen to the wind, feel the rhythm of your own heart, and you will know. You will know without thought, without language, without doubt. When you live in this way, life no longer feels like a journey. It becomes a homecoming. You are not moving towards something. You are returning to what has always been. You are coming back to the innocence you had as a child, when you could laugh for no reason, cry without shame, love without fear. That innocence is not lost. It is simply waiting behind the walls of your seriousness. Drop them and it will return. Life needs no meaning when you are awake. Awareness itself is the meaning. To see clearly, to love freely, to live totally, this is enlightenment. To be so present that even time stops, to be so silent that even thought bows in reverence, that is the ultimate purpose of your being. Now walk gently through the world as one who has remembered. Live not as a seeker but as a song. Speak not to convince but to share. Love not to possess but to celebrate. Let your very presence be a light, showing others that they too are part of this great mystery called existence. And when your last day comes, you will not fear it, because you will know that you never lived against life. If you lived as life, you will not die. You will simply dissolve into the same silence that has been holding you all along. So, my beloved, leave behind the question, why am I here? And start living the answer. For you are not here to find the meaning of life. You are here to become it. But the mind will not let you rest easily in this truth. It will drag you back again and again into the marketplace of ambitions, into the factory of desires. You see, society does not want you to be a song. Society wants you to be a machine. A well-oiled, efficient, obedient machine that produces, consumes, and dies without ever asking a real question. From the moment you were born, a subtle, invisible violence was committed against your soul. They did not attack your body, they attacked your innocence. They told you that you are not enough. They told you that to be valuable, you must become something else. The doctor, the engineer, the rich man, the powerful man. And in that moment, the split happened. A deep division was created inside your being. You were separated from your own nature. You were told to suppress your wildness, your spontaneous joy, your uncaused laughter. You were told to be civilized. And what does civilized mean in this sick world? It means becoming a hypocrite. It means smiling when you are angry, saying yes when your whole being is screaming no, and chasing money when your soul is dying of thirst. This conditioning is the real enemy, not the devil in the scriptures, but the conditioning in your own mind. It is a parasite that feeds on your life energy. It tells you that success is measured by the size of your house, the digits in your bank account, the approval of the crowd. But I ask you, my friend, what is the value of conquering the whole world if you lose your own soul? What is the point of being adored by millions if you are a stranger to yourself? You are living in a prison, but the most tragic part is that the prison has no visible bars. The bars are made of your beliefs, your traditions, your prejudices. You carry your prison inside your head. And because you cannot see the bars, you think you are free. You vote in elections and think you have freedom of choice. You buy different brands of soap and think you are an individual. What absolute nonsense! Individuality is the most dangerous thing in the world. The priests don't want it. The politicians don't want it. The education system doesn't want it. They want a crowd because a crowd has no soul. A crowd can be manipulated, frightened, driven to war. An individual, a truly awakened being, cannot be manipulated. He cannot be forced to hate a stranger across the border just because some politician waved a flag. An awakened being sees the same divine light in the enemy's eyes as in his own. That is why society has always crucified the awakened ones. They poisoned Socrates, they crucified Jesus, they murdered Al-Halash, because the presence of an awakened being is a threat to the sleeping crowd. His very existence is a rebellion. I am not talking about a political rebellion where you throw stones and change the government. Changing the government changes nothing. You just replace one set of thieves with another. I am talking about a spiritual rebellion, the rebellion of consciousness, the rebellion of the soul against the tyranny of the mind. To be a rebel means to drop all the conditioning that has been forced upon you since childhood. It means to unlearn everything you have been taught. It means to strip yourself naked of all the borrowed knowledge and stand in the absolute purity of your own experience. It is a painful process. I will not lie to you. It is like peeling away your own skin, because your identity, your ego, is entirely made of this conditioning. Who are you if you are not a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu? Who are you if you are not an American, an Indian, a Turk? Who are you if you are not your job, your title, your bank account? When you drop these labels, you will feel a tremendous fear. You will feel like you are falling into a bottomless abyss. The mind will scream, "Stop! You are going crazy, you are losing yourself." But I say to you, fall into the abyss. Do not be afraid. That which can be lost was never yours to begin with. Let it be lost. Let the false die so the real can be born. Meditation is nothing but this process of death and rebirth. It is the courage to die to the past, to die to the known, and to be born into the unknown. It is the greatest adventure a human being can undertake. It is not sitting silently in a corner chanting a mantra to get some cheap peace of mind. That is just a tranquilizer. True meditation is a fire. It burns away all the garbage of the mind. It burns away your illusions, your attachments, your greed, your jealousy. And what is left behind is pure gold, pure consciousness, the witness, that which can never be burned, never be destroyed. If you are feeling this fire of rebellion starting to ignite in your belly, don't let it die out. Fuel it. Subscribe to this channel to keep this revolutionary frequency in your life. Smash the like button to disrupt the algorithm of sleep. If you want to systematically deconstruct the prison of your mind, explore our ebooks. They are manuals for this inner rebellion. And by using the super thanks or join button, you stand with us against the tide of unconsciousness. When you start meditating, when you start becoming aware, you will notice something very strange happening to your relationships. You will see that what you call love was not love at all. It was dependency, it was mutual exploitation. You were using the other person to fill your own emptiness, and they were using you to fill theirs. You were two beggars, each holding out an empty bowl, begging the other to fill it. "Make me happy," you said. "Make me feel secure," they said. And when the other person failed to fulfill your impossible demands, as they inevitably must, the love turned into hate. Have you noticed how easily lovers become enemies? The distance between love and hate in the ordinary human mind is paper thin. In fact, they are two sides of the same coin. This is not love, this is a sickness. True love arises only out of fullness, not out of emptiness. When you are so full of joy, so full of peace, so full of your own presence that it starts overflowing, that overflowing is love. It has no object. It does not say, I love you. It simply says, I am love. When you love from this space of awareness, you do not try to possess the other person. You do not try to put them in a cage. Possession is the ugliest thing in the world. The moment you possess someone, you destroy their soul. You reduce a living, breathing, divine mystery into a piece of property. A husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, these are property titles. True love gives absolute freedom. It says, I love you and therefore I want you to be totally free, free from my expectations, free from my demands. Be who you are. Grow into your own potential. Love is not a prison. It is an open sky, and only two independent, free, aware individuals can truly love. They meet like two clouds in the sky, merge in for a moment, share in their rain, share in their thunder, and then drift in apart without any clinging. There is no jealousy in this love, because jealousy is born out of fear of loss. How can you lose something that you do not own? When you live with this kind of love, your whole life becomes a poem. You do not just love human beings. You love the trees, the animals, the rocks, the stars. You fall in love with existence itself. You realize that you are not separate from the tree. The same sap that runs through the tree runs as blood through your veins. You are not separate from the stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, was forged in the heart of dying stars. You are literally stardust. You are the universe. And when you know this, how can you harm anything? How can you exploit nature? How can you drop bombs on your fellow human beings? Violence becomes impossible, not because you follow some moral commandment, thou shalt not kill. Morality is for the blind. A man of awareness needs no morality. He cannot kill because he sees himself in the other. If you hit the other, you are hitting yourself. This is the ultimate revolution. Not a revolution of economics, not a revolution of politics, but a revolution of consciousness. It is the only hope for humanity, because if man does not awaken, if he does not rise above this animalistic state of greed and violence, he is going to destroy this beautiful planet. You have the power to create heaven on earth. The tools are in your hands, but you are using them to dig your own grave. You are using the incredible power of your mind to create weapons of mass destruction, to pollute the oceans, to poison the air. Why? Because the mind is in the hands of the ego. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. When the ego uses the mind, it creates science without wisdom, technology without compassion. It creates a civilization of smart fools, people who know how to split the atom but don't know how to love, people who can travel to the moon but cannot cross the street to meet their neighbor. This madness has to stop, and it can only stop with you. Do not wait for the politicians to save the world. They are the most unconscious people on the planet. Do not wait for the priests. They are selling you dead dogmas. The responsibility is entirely yours. You must become a light unto yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. A master can only point the way. A master can only be a catalyst, but the master cannot walk the path for you. You have to walk it on your own 2 feet. You have to bleed, you have to sweat, you have to face your own inner demons. You have to go into the dark basement of your unconscious mind and bring the light of awareness to the monsters hiding there. You cannot hire a priest to do it for you. You cannot buy salvation in the marketplace. It is not a commodity, it is an inner revolution. You have become so accustomed to relying on others for everything. For your physical health, you go to a doctor. For your legal problems, you go to a lawyer. And for your soul, you go to a priest. This is the greatest tragedy. You have outsourced your own soul. You have given the responsibility for your spiritual growth to people who are just as blind as you are. The blind leading the blind, both falling into the ditch of ignorance. Drop this dependency. Drop the scriptures. Drop the holy books. They are filled with dead words. Truth cannot be written down. The moment truth is put into words, it becomes a lie. Truth is a living, pulsating, vibrating reality. It is happening right now, in this very moment. It is in the song of the bird outside your window. It is in the rustling of the leaves. It is in the rise and fall of your own breath. You don't need the Gita. You don't need the Quran. You don't need the Bible. You need eyes to see and ears to hear. You need an open heart. Knowledge is the biggest barrier to knowing. A knowledgeable man is the most ignorant man in the world because his knowledge gives him the illusion that he knows. He knows the words, he knows the theories, he can quote the scriptures backwards, but he has not experienced a single moment of truth. He is like a man who has memorized a cookbook but has never tasted the food. His stomach is empty, but his head is full of recipes. To really know, you must unlearn. You must become ignorant again. You must become innocent again. You must say, I do not know. That I do not know is the beginning of wisdom. When you say, I do not know, your mind becomes silent. The chatter of accumulated knowledge stops, and in that silence, a new space opens up, a space of receptivity, of vulnerability. If you have ever felt the crushing weight of your own accumulated knowledge, if you have ever felt the urge to drop the heavy burden of being smart and simply return to the innocence of not knowing, tell me in the comments, what belief are you ready to drop today? Your public confession here is your first step of rebellion. And to support the continuation of this rebellious transmission, use the super thanks or join button. Our channel relies on independent seekers like you, not corporate sponsors. For a deeper deprogramming of your intellect, our ebooks are waiting for you. When you drop the known, you enter the unknown. And the unknown is the realm of the divine. The known is the realm of the mind. The mind is always moving in the past. Everything the mind knows is already dead, already gone. The past is a graveyard, and you are living in it. You are carrying the corpses of your past experiences, your past memories, your past hurts, your past achievements, and the smell of these corpses is suffocating you. Drop the past. It is gone. It has no reality anymore. It is just a phantom in your memory. Why are you clinging to it? You cling to it because it gives you an identity. You think, I am the one who suffered this, or I am the one who achieved that. Without the past, who are you? You are a nobody, and the ego is terrified of being a nobody. The ego wants to be a somebody, so it constantly manufactures the future. If the past is the graveyard, the future is the projection of the mind's desires. The future does not exist, it is a dream. You are sitting here right now, but your mind is somewhere else. You are thinking about what you will do tomorrow, what you will buy next year, how you will become happy in the future. You have postponed your life, you have made a habit of postponing. I will be happy when I get that job, I will be happy when I find the perfect partner, I will be happy when I retire, and then you die. You die waiting for happiness. Happiness is not in the future. Happiness is the very nature of the present moment. If you cannot be happy now, you can never be happy. Because tomorrow never comes. Whenever it comes, it is always today. Life only exists in the eternal now. Look at the trees. Are they worrying about tomorrow? Look at the animals. Are they depressed about yesterday? Only man suffers from this neurosis of time. Time is a psychological disease. Chronological time is needed for the marketplace, to catch a train, to run an office. But psychological time, the burden of the past and the anxiety of the future, is a poison. It destroys the beauty of the present moment. To be aware means to be fully in the present moment. It means to cut the roots of the past and the future. When you are totally here, when your whole consciousness is focused in this very moment, time disappears. You enter eternity. Eternity is not a very long time. Eternity is the absence of time. It is the depth of the present moment. In that depth, there is no fear. Fear only exists in time. You are afraid of what will happen tomorrow. You are afraid of old age. You are afraid of death. All fears are future-oriented. In the present moment, there is no fear. In the present moment, there is no problem. Problems are created by the mind, and the mind needs time to create problems. Try it right now. In this very moment, without thinking about yesterday and without thinking about tomorrow, what is your problem? You have no problem. You are just breathing. You are just seeing. You are just being. It is an absolute undisturbed peace. But you cannot stay there for more than a few seconds. The mind rushes back in. It says, but what about the bills? What about the rent? What about my career? The mind cannot exist in the present. The present is the death of the mind. That is why the mind is always running away from the present. Meditation is the art of bringing the mind back to the present. Again and again, it will run away into the past or the future. Again and again, gently, without any fight, without any condemnation, bring it back to the here and now. Just watch your breath. The breath is always in the present. You cannot breathe in the past. You cannot breathe in the future. The breath is the bridge between your body and your soul. It is the anchor that keeps you in the present. When you start living in the present, your whole quality of life changes. You become intense. You become total. When you eat, you just eat. You taste every bite. You feel the texture, the aroma. Eating becomes a divine experience. When you walk, you just walk. You feel the earth beneath your feet. You feel the wind on your face. You are not walking to reach somewhere. The walking itself is the goal. This is the way of the Zen masters. When they drink tea, they just drink tea. There is no other thought in their mind. The whole universe is concentrated in that cup of tea. That is true meditation. Meditation is not a separate activity that you do for 20 minutes in the morning and then forget about for the rest of the day. Meditation is a quality of awareness that you bring to your whole life. You can meditate while washing the dishes. You can meditate while sweeping the floor. You can meditate while driving your car. Just be totally present. Do not let the mind wander. If you are washing the dishes, just wash the dishes. Feel the warmth of the water, the smoothness of the plates, the bubbles of the soap. Be totally absorbed in the action. The doer disappears and only the doing remains. When the doer disappears, the ego disappears, because the ego is the doer. The ego says, I am washing the dishes, I am doing this, I am doing that. When you are totally absorbed in the present moment, there is no I, there is only pure action, there is only a happening, and in that happening there is immense bliss. This bliss is not dependent on any external cause. It is not the happiness you get from winning the lottery or getting a promotion. That kind of happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes. The bliss of the present moment is uncaused. It is your natural state. It is always there underneath the noise of the mind. You just have to tune into it. You have been running after shadows your whole life. You have been chasing illusions, and you are tired. Your soul is exhausted. Stop running. Sit down, close your eyes, and look within. The kingdom of God is within you. The ultimate truth is within you. The meaning of life is within you. Do not be afraid of the inner silence. The mind will tell you that silence is boring, that silence is empty. The mind needs noise, excitement, drama, but the soul is nourished by silence. Silence is the music of the soul. When you sit silently doing absolutely nothing, the spring comes and the grass grows by itself. You don't have to pull the grass to make it grow. Existence takes care of everything. Trust in existence. You don't have to carry the whole world on your shoulders. You can drop the burden. Existence has been running smoothly for billions of years without your help. The sun has been rising, the stars have been shining, the rivers have been flowing. Everything is in perfect harmony. You are the only one who is out of tune. And you are out of tune because you are trying to fight with existence. You have your own private goals, your own private desires, which are against the cosmic flow. Drop your private desires. Align yourself with the cosmos. Let thy will be done, not my will be done. When your will merges with the cosmic will, you become a master. Not a master over others, but a master of yourself. You become a king, even if you are a beggar on the street. Your inner dignity, your inner grace, your inner radiance becomes so powerful that it cannot be hidden. You become a magnet. People will be drawn to you, not for what you have, but for what you are. You will radiate peace, you will radiate love, you will radiate joy. You will become a blessing to the world, and that is the only way to live. To live as a blessing, to live as a song, to live as a dance. If this message resonates with the deepest core of your being, hit the like button, let the algorithm know that humanity is waking up, that we are hungry for truth, not for entertainment. Subscribe to the channel to keep this connection alive. And if you wish to help us translate these messages into more languages, reaching the furthest corners of this sleeping planet, use the Super Thanks feature or the Join button. For those ready to apply this silence directly to their daily lives, the ebooks linked in the description are your tools. To live this way requires a tremendous amount of courage. The courage to stand alone. The crowd will not like it. The crowd will call you crazy. They will say you are wasting your life. They will try to pull you back into their misery, because a happy man is a threat to the unhappy crowd. A free man is a threat to the enslaved crowd. They want you to be like them. They want you to share their anxieties, their fears, their petty politics, their gossip. Do not compromise. Do not sell your soul for the approval of the crowd. Their approval means nothing. They do not even know who they are. How can they judge you? Stand in your own truth. Even if the whole world is against you, if you are grounded in your own inner silence, you will not be shaken. You will stand like a mountain. The winds of public opinion will blow. The storms of criticism will rage, but the mountain remains undisturbed. Be that mountain, be that silent, unshakable presence in a world gone mad, in a world running blindly towards a cliff. Be the anchor of sanity, be the island of peace. You are not just a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Realize your vastness, realize your eternity. You were never born and you will never die. Birth and death are just episodes in the eternal drama of your consciousness. You are the witness, you are the watcher on the hills. Watch the body aging, watch the mind thinking, watch the emotions rising and falling. But always remember, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the emotions, you are the pure awareness that watches all this. When you anchor yourself in this pure awareness, nothing can touch you. Pain may come to the body, but it does not touch your awareness. Sadness may pass through the mind, but it does not stain your awareness. Awareness is like a mirror. A beautiful person passes before the mirror. The mirror reflects beauty. An ugly person passes, the mirror reflects ugliness. A fire passes, the mirror reflects fire. But the mirror is not burned. The mirror is not stained. When the person moves away, the mirror is empty and pure again. Your consciousness is that mirror. Keep it clean, keep it free from the dust of attachment. Let things come and go. Welcome the joy when it comes and bid it farewell when it leaves. Welcome the sorrow when it comes and bid it farewell when it leaves. Do not cling, do not identify. Just be a silent, loving, compassionate witness. And in that witnessing, the ultimate mystery of life will reveal itself to you. You will know the meaning that is beyond all words. You will know the truth that sets you free. But the mind will tell you that witnessing is a cold, detached state. It will argue that if you become a mirror, you will lose your humanity, your capacity to feel, your ability to love. This is the ultimate deception of the ego, trying to keep you trapped in its emotional roller coaster. The exact opposite is the truth. Only a witness can truly love. Only a mirror can truly reflect the beauty of the other. When you are identified with your emotions, you are not loving, you are drowning, you are overwhelmed. Your love is possessive, anxious, fearful, demanding. It is not love at all, it is a fever of the mind. True compassion, karuna, arises only when you are a witness, because when you step back from the drama of your own mind, you begin to see the same drama playing out in everyone else. You see their suffering, their fears, their desperate search for meaning, and your heart opens not with pity but with a deep, understanding compassion. You do not judge the angry man, because you see that his anger is just a cloud passing across his mirror. You do not condemn the greedy man, because you see that his greed is just a wound from his past. You see everyone as a fellow traveler, struggling in the same dark forest, searching for the same light. This is true humanity. This is the flowering of the soul. So do not be afraid of this inner distance. It is not coldness, it is clarity. It is not indifference, it is wisdom. It is the only place from where you can truly embrace the world without being destroyed by it. You have lived in fear of the unknown for too long. You cling to your misery, to your known hells, because at least they are familiar. You know the geography of your pain. You know how your partner will insult you. You know how your boss will exploit you. You know how your Sunday evening depression feels. It is a familiar, comfortable misery. The unknown is terrifying because it is unpredictable. The mind cannot map it. The mind cannot control it. And so you stay in your cage complaining about the bars but terrified of the open door. I am here to tell you to jump. Take the leap into the abyss. Yes, you will lose your identity. Yes, you will lose your security. Yes, you will lose your comfortable misery. But what you will gain is the whole sky. You will gain your wings. You will gain the ultimate freedom to just be. This leap is what I call sannyas. It is not changing your clothes to orange robes or changing your name. Those are just outer symbols. True sannyas is the inner decision to stop compromising with the false and to live dangerously, to live truthfully, to live consciously. It is the decision to make awareness the only value, the supreme goal of your existence. Have you ever felt the urge to just drop everything, your entire identity, and leap into the unknown? Tell me in the comments, what is the biggest fear holding you back from total freedom? Writing it down diminishes its power over you. If you are ready to make this leap to join a caravan of seekers who are diving into the abyss together, hit the join button. Support this rebellion of consciousness with a super thanks and dive into our ebooks to dismantle the last remaining bars of your mental cage. When you make this leap, existence rushes in to support you. You will be amazed. The moment you drop the false securities, a real security arises, not the security of a bank account, but the security of knowing that you are part of a benevolent, intelligent, loving universe. You will see that existence is not against you. It has always been waiting for you to trust it. The birds trust it. They do not store food for the next year. They sing in the morning, trusting that the worms will be there. The flowers trust it. They open their petals, vulnerable to the wind and the rain, trusting that the sun will shine. Only man has lost this fundamental trust. Only man tries to secure his future through insurance policies, retirement plans, and walls of concrete and ideology. And look at what this search for security has done to you. It has made you dead. Security is the nature of the graveyard. Life is insecure. Love is insecure. Truth is insecure. The more alive you are, the more insecure you are. If you want absolute security, commit suicide. The dead are absolutely secure. Nothing can happen to them. No disease, no heartbreak, no financial crash can touch a corpse. To be alive means to be vulnerable. It means to be open to the wounds, to the joy, to the ecstasy, to the agony. Welcome all of it. Do not edit life. Do not say, I only want the sunshine, I don't want the rain. Without the rain, the trees will die. Without the sorrow, your joy will be superficial. It is the tears that give depth to your laughter. So when sadness comes, do not fight it. Do not try to distract yourself by turning on the television or eating food you don't need. Sit with your sadness, welcome it as a guest, watch it, penetrate it, go to the very root of it, and you will be surprised. If you watch your sadness with absolute awareness, without any judgment, the sadness transforms. The energy that was bound up in the sadness is released, and it becomes pure consciousness. The same applies to your anger. When anger arises, do not suppress it. Society tells you to suppress it, to be a good person, but suppressed anger becomes poison in your blood. It becomes cancer in your body. It becomes ulcers in your stomach. And do not express it destructively on others, because that just creates a chain of karma, a chain of violence. What to do with anger? Watch it, close the door to your room, sit down and just watch the fire of anger burning inside you. Feel the heat, feel the tension in your muscles, feel the accelerated heartbeat. Just be a witness to the storm, and as you watch without fueling it with thoughts, without justifying it, the storm will pass, the clouds will clear, and what is left behind is a tremendous vitality, a fresh energy that you can use for creativity, for love, for meditation. This is the alchemy of awareness. It turns base metals into gold. It turns the poison of the mind into the nectar of the soul. You do not need to fight your negative emotions. You just need to bring the light of awareness to them. Darkness cannot be fought. You cannot push darkness out of the room. You just have to light a candle and the darkness disappears by itself. Awareness is that candle. Stop judging yourself. Stop condemning yourself. You are not a sinner. Sin is an invention of the priests to keep you enslaved, to keep you feeling guilty. A guilty man is a weak man. A guilty man can be easily manipulated. Drop all guilt. You are an expression of the divine. You are perfect exactly as you are. Yes, you have made mistakes, but mistakes are how consciousness learns. You fell down. You scraped your knees. So what? Stand up, brush off the dust, and walk again. Do not carry the guilt of the fall. Existence forgives you the moment you become aware. Awareness is the only repentance needed. Live with a clean slate. Every morning wake up as if you are born anew. The past is erased. Today is a fresh beginning. Look at your partner as if you are seeing them for the first time. Look at the trees as if they were just created. This freshness of perception is what keeps you young. The body may age, but the consciousness of a meditator is always young, always fresh, always virgin. This is the secret of eternal youth. It is not found in cosmetic creams or plastic surgery. It is found in the capacity to live in the present moment with innocent eyes. Do not be serious. Religion has been made so serious, so heavy, so gloomy. Look at the faces of the saints in the churches and the temples. They look like they are in absolute agony. They look like they have never laughed in their lives. This is not religion. This is pathology. True religion is a celebration. True religion is festive. God is a dancer. God is a musician. God is a lover. God is not a strict schoolmaster sitting in the sky with a ledger, recording your sins and your good deeds. God is the very juice of life. God is the laughter of the universe. So laugh. Laugh at your own foolishness. Laugh at the absurdity of the ego. Laugh at the cosmic joke and dance. Move your body. Your body is the temple of the divine. Do not starve it. Do not torture it. Respect it. Listen to its wisdom. The body knows much more than your mind. The body is always in the present. It cannot be in the past or the future. Only the mind travels. If you align your mind with your body, you are automatically in the present. This is why techniques like Vipassana or Zazen focus on the breath or the bodily sensations. They are tricks to bring the wandering mind back home to the body, to the present reality. When body and mind are together, A deep harmony is created, a bridge is formed, and over this bridge you can cross into the realm of the soul. But you are so fragmented. Your body is sitting here, your mind is in New York, and your emotions are stuck in a childhood trauma. You are scattered in 1,000 directions. How can you be powerful? How can you be blissful? Bliss is a byproduct of integration, of wholeness. When all your fragments come together, when you become one unified centered being, bliss arises naturally. To integrate yourself, you must stop fighting with yourself. Accept your totality, accept your light and your shadow, accept your saint and your sinner. They are both part of you. The day and the night are both needed. Do not try to be a one-dimensional plastic saint. Be a whole human being. A whole human being is unpredictable. He flows like a river. Sometimes he is angry like a summer storm. Sometimes he is peaceful like a calm lake. Sometimes he is sad. Sometimes he is ecstatic. But in all these moods, underneath the surface, the witness remains unchanged. The center remains unmoved. This is the goal, to be in the marketplace but not of the marketplace. To be in the world but not of the world. To live like the lotus flower. The lotus grows in the mud, in the dirty water, but its petals remain absolutely pure, untouched by the mud. You can live in this mad world with all its greed, its violence, its insanity, and yet remain completely untouched, centered in your own divinity. Do you feel the pull of this integrated life? Do you feel the thirst for wholeness? Show your resonance by liking this video. It is a small gesture, but it aligns your energy. Subscribe to stay plugged into this frequency of transformation. If you are ready to stop being a spectator and become a participant in this channel's mission, use the join button. Drop a super thanks to help us cut through the noise of the internet, and read our ebooks to absorb these truths into your very selves. This is what it means to live beyond meaning. It is to live with such intensity, such totality, that the question of meaning burns up in the fire of your living. You become a flame, and a flame does not ask, "What is my meaning?" It simply burns. It simply gives light. It simply gives warmth. You are that flame. The wind of society has tried to blow it out. The heavy blankets of conditioning have tried to smother it, but the spark is still there, deep inside you. It cannot be extinguished. It is eternal. It is your birthright. My whole effort here, my words, my presence, is just to blow on that spark, to remove the ashes, to give you the courage to let it catch fire again, to let it consume your false personality, your ego, your masks, so that only the real you remains. And the real you is not separate from the divine. The real you is the divine. When you realize this, when this truth sinks from your head into your heart and finally into your belly, your entire perception of the world undergoes a radical mutation. You stop looking at the world as a place to be conquered or escaped from. You start looking at it as a mirror reflecting your own divinity. The beggar on the street is the divine in the form of a beggar. The king on the throne is the divine playing the role of a king. The thief in the night is the divine playing a dangerous game. Suddenly the urge to judge anyone completely evaporates. How can you judge? The one who is judging is the same energy as the one being judged. It is the left hand judging, the right hand. It is absolute foolishness. This doesn't mean you become passive. If someone is hurting another, out of your compassion, out of your love, you will act. You will protect the weak. You will stop the violence. But you will do it without hatred. You will do it without condemning the aggressor. You will see the aggressor as a sick soul, an unconscious child who does not know what he is doing. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. These were the words of Jesus on the cross. Only a man of absolute awareness can say this while being tortured to death. He could see that the people nailing him to the cross were fast asleep. They were hypnotized by the crowd, by the priests, by their own unconscious fears. You don't hate sleepwalkers. You have compassion for them. You try to wake them up. This is the ultimate test of your awareness. Can you maintain your center, your peace, your love, even when the world is hostile? It is easy to be a Buddha in the Himalayas, sitting in a quiet cave where there are no disturbances. The trees do not insult you. The mountains do not demand anything from you. It is a very cheap enlightenment. Real enlightenment has to be tested in the fire of the marketplace. Can you be a Buddha in the middle of Wall Street? Can you be a Buddha in the middle of a traffic jam when someone is honking their horn at you? Can you be a Buddha when your business collapses or when the person you love leaves you? If your meditation is disturbed by the market, it is not meditation, it is just self-hypnosis. True meditation becomes a rock. It creates an aura around you, an energy field. Disturbances come, but they hit this energy field and bounce back. They do not penetrate your center. This brings us to the greatest fear of the human mind, the fear of death. All other fears, fear of poverty, fear of disease, fear of abandonment, are just branches. The root is the fear of death. As long as you are afraid of death, you can never live totally. You will always be holding back. You will always be saving yourself, protecting yourself, living in a defensive armor. But what is death? Why are you so terrified of it? You are terrified because you think you are the body. You think when the body dies, I will die. This identification with the body is the root of all misery. The body is just a vehicle, a rented house. You have lived in many houses before. When a house becomes old, dilapidated, and unfit for living, the wise tenant moves out and finds a new house. Death is nothing but changing the house. Or think of it like taking off old clothes. When your clothes become dirty and torn, do you cry? Do you hold a funeral for your old shirt? No. You take it off and put on a fresh one. Death is a cosmic process of renewal. It takes away the old tired form and gives you a fresh start, a new body, a new brain, a new opportunity to continue your journey towards ultimate awakening. Death is not the enemy of life, it is the friend of life. Without death, life would be an intolerable burden. Imagine living in this same body for 1,000 years, with all its aches, its pains, its accumulated memories, its boredom. You would be begging for death. Death is a rest. It is a deep sleep, a cosmic surgery where the soul rests and rejuvenates before taking birth again. And if you are a meditator, if you have reached the point of no mind, then death is even more beautiful. It is the final liberation. The soul does not need to take birth again. The school is over. The lessons have been learned. The drop slips into the ocean and becomes the ocean. To overcome the fear of death, you do not need to read philosophical books about the afterlife. You just need to experience the deathless element within you right now. In meditation, when thoughts stop, time stops. And when time stops, the body seems to be far away, the mind seems to be far away. You are just a center of pure light, pure knowing. In that state, you know with absolute certainty that you cannot die. No weapon can cut this awareness, no fire can burn it, no water can wet it. It is eternal. Once you have tasted this eternal element within yourself, the fear of death drops like a dead leaf from a tree, and the moment the fear of death drops, your life explodes with a new intensity. You are no longer afraid to take risk. You are no longer afraid to love passionately. You are no longer afraid to speak your truth. Even if the whole world condemns you, you become a lion. The sheep mentality of the crowd drops away. If this fearlessness is what you are seeking, if you want to drop the sheep skin and roar like a lion, let us know in the comments. Have you ever had a moment where the fear of death just vanished? What triggered it? Share your story, inspire the community to join the lions. Hit the join button. Use super thanks to roar with your support for this independent voice, and dive into our ebooks to understand the mechanics of this ultimate liberation. Liberation does not mean turning away from the world. It does not mean hating the body or hating the senses. For centuries, religions have poisoned the human mind by creating a division between the sacred and the profane, between the spirit and the body. They told you that the body is dirty, that sex is a sin, that pleasure is a trap of the devil. This is a life-negative philosophy. It has created a world of neurotics, hypocrites and perverts. It has suppressed the natural flow of life energy. I am here to heal this split. I say to you, the body is not the enemy of the soul. The body is the temple of the soul. There is no division between the material and the spiritual. Matter is just visible spirit. Spirit is just invisible matter. Everything is divine. Food is divine. Music is divine. Touch is divine. Sex is divine. Yes, sex is the lowest form of divine energy, but it is divine. The lotus grows out of the mud. You do not condemn the mud. Without the mud, there would be no lotus. Do not repress your natural energies. Repression leads to perversion. What you suppress goes into your unconscious mind and controls you from the dark. If you suppress sex, it will obsess you. Your whole mind will become sexual. Look at the monks and nuns in the monasteries. They are obsessed with sex. They are fighting it day and night. Acceptance is the way of transformation. Accept your sexuality. Accept your anger. Accept your greed. Accept the whole spectrum of your humanity. But accept it with awareness. Make love, but make love with deep awareness. Do not do it like an animal in a hurry, mechanically. Do it as a meditation. Slow down, be totally present. Look into the eyes of your partner. See the divine in them. Let two bodies meet, but let two souls meet as well. In that deep orgasmic space, the mind stops. For a moment, you are thrown out of time. For a moment, the ego disappears. That is why sex has such a deep appeal. It is a natural, biological glimpse of samadhi, of enlightenment. But it is only a glimpse. It lasts for a few seconds, and then you fall back into the gutter of the mind, feeling empty and drained. Tantra, the ancient science of transformation, teaches you how to prolong this moment, how to transform the biological energy of sex into the spiritual energy of meditation. When you accept the lower naturally begins to rise towards the higher. The sex energy moves up the spine and becomes love at the heart center. It moves further up and becomes compassion. It moves to the third eye and becomes awareness. It moves to the crown chakra and becomes enlightenment. It is the same energy. Do not fight the mud, use the mud to grow the lotus. This total acceptance of life brings a tremendous relaxation. You don't have to pretend to be a saint. You don't have to put on a mask. You can be just ordinary. The greatest men in the world are the most ordinary men. They don't try to be special. The desire to be special is the disease of the ego. I want to be a famous politician. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a great saint. These are all ego trips. The enlightened man is so ordinary that you might pass him on the street and not even notice him. He is chopping wood, carrying water, but his chopping of wood has a different quality. He chops wood with the same reverence as a priest praying at the altar. He carries water as if he is carrying the whole cosmos. He is utterly content in the ordinary, eating his food, sleeping, walking under the stars, laughing with his friends. He has no ambitions. He has arrived. Arrival does not mean the end of life. It means the beginning of real life. Before arrival, you were just preparing to live. You were rehearsing. Now the curtain has gone up. The play has begun. You are living. And this life has no end. It is an eternal exploration of the infinite. God is not a full stop. God is not a destination where you arrive, pack your bags, and sit doing nothing for eternity. God is an endless journey, an endless expansion of consciousness, of love, of joy. As you go deeper into meditation, you will discover that the universe has no boundaries. And because you are the universe, you have no boundaries. The deeper you go, the more depth is revealed. It is a mystery that can never be exhausted. Science tries to demystify the universe. It tries to reduce everything to formulas, to equations, to atoms. Science takes the flower and dissects it to find its secret. It finds the chemicals, the water, the fibers. But in the process, the beauty is lost. The fragrance is lost. The flower is dead. Religion, true religion, the religion of the mystics, does not dissect. It embraces. It does not try to know the universe. It tries to become one with it. It preserves the mystery. And what a beautiful mystery it is. Just look at the night sky. Billions of galaxies floating in the vast emptiness. Where did they come from? Where are they going? Who is the choreographer of this grand dance? The mind boggles. The intellect fails. In that failure of the intellect, wonder is born, and wonder is the doorway to the divine. Keep your wonder alive. Do not let knowledge kill your wonder. Look at a blade of grass as if it is the greatest miracle in the world, because it is the fact that anything exists at all is a miracle. Out of nothingness, all this abundance, out of silence, all this music, you are part of this miracle. Your eyes that are seeing, your ears that are hearing, your heart that is beating, it is all a miracle. Do not take life for granted. Every morning when you wake up, before you jump out of bed to check your phone, just lie there for 2 minutes and feel the miracle of being alive. Feel the breath entering your nostrils, feel the heartbeat, feel the warmth of your body, and say a silent thank you to the universe. Gratitude is the highest form of prayer. Not asking for things, give me money, give me a promotion, cure my disease. That is the prayer of a beggar. The prayer of an emperor is just, thank you for this breath, thank you for this body, thank you for the sun that warms the earth, thank you for the pain that taught me compassion, thank you for the joy that gave me wings. When your whole life becomes a thank you, you have achieved the ultimate. There is nothing more to achieve. You have become a Buddha. A Buddha is not a person. A Buddha is a state of consciousness. Gautama the Buddha was just one expression of it. Jesus was another. Lao Tzu, Bodhidharma, Kabir, Mera, Rumi, these are all different names for the same consciousness. And that consciousness is dormant within you. You are carrying a Buddha inside you asleep. My whole work is just to shake you, to pour cold water on your face, to shout in your ear, wake up. The morning has come, the sun is in the sky. How long will you sleep? How long will you suffer in your nightmares? The nightmare is of your own making. You can step out of it right now, in this very moment. You don't need time. Awakening is not a process in time. It is an explosion. It happens in the blink of an eye. One moment you are a beggar, the next moment you are an emperor. It is just a shift of gestalt, a shift from the mind to the witness. So do not postpone, do not say, I will meditate tomorrow. Tomorrow is the trick of the mind. Life is now. Death can come at any moment. Are you ready? If death comes right now and knocks on your door, can you welcome it with a smile? Can you say, I am ready, I have lived totally, I have loved totally, I have nothing left undone? If you cannot say that, then you are wasting your time. You are wasting the greatest opportunity existence has given you. Human life is a rare gift. Don't throw it away on useless ambitions. Use this life to become light. Use this life to become love. Use this life to realize who you really are. If this call to awaken has pierced through your sleep, don't just nod your head. Act. Liking this video sends a signal of awakening through the digital ether. Sharing it is an act of compassion. By joining this channel via the join button, you declare your commitment to your own awakening. By using super thanks, you water the tree of this wisdom, and the ebooks are your daily companions on this pathless path. Be total, be intense, burn your candle from both ends. Live so deeply that when death comes, it finds nothing to take. You have already squeezed the juice out of life. You have already dissolved into the whole. Then death will not be a tragedy. Death will be the ultimate celebration, the final dance, the return to the source. The river has reached the ocean. And now, as we reach the shore of this journey, as the words begin to fade back into the silence from which they were born, let us gather the essence of everything we have shared. We have walked through the dense, thorny forests of the conditioned mind. We have exposed the great illusions that society, religion, and the ego have built around you to keep you small, to keep you searching, to keep you in chains. You have seen how the obsession with meaning and purpose is the very disease that prevents you from living. You have looked directly into the terror of your own loneliness and discovered that beneath that fear lies the golden treasure of aloneness, the absolute joy of being sufficient unto yourself. You have stripped away the false masks of love and discovered that true love is not dependency, but the overflowing of your own inner fullness. You have understood that the ego is the barrier and surrender is the key. You have realized that control is an illusion born of fear and trust is the doorway to the divine. You have faced the specter of death and seen that it is only a change of clothes, a movement in the eternal dance of existence. You have seen that the sacred and the profane are one, that mud and lotus are made of the same divine substance, and most importantly, you have remembered that you are not separate from existence. You are its voice, its eyes, its heartbeat. You are the universe waking up to itself. So now, what is left to do? Nothing, absolutely nothing. That is the final, supreme understanding. There is nowhere left to go, because you have already arrived. There is nothing left to achieve, because you are already complete. The search is officially over. You can drop the heavy backpack you have been carrying for lifetimes, the backpack filled with guilt, with ambitions, with the desire to be special, with the constant striving for self-improvement. You don't need to improve yourself. You are perfect in your imperfection. Just relax. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. Feel the tension draining from your jaw, from your eyes, from your heart. You are accepted. Existence accepts you exactly as you are. The trees don't judge you. The stars don't condemn you. Only your own mind has been your enemy. Drop the mind. From this moment on, let your life be a spontaneous flow. Do not plan the next moment. Let the next moment be a surprise, even to yourself. Live in a state of wonder. Approach every day as an unwritten poem. Go back into your world. Go back to your office, your family, your marketplace. But do not go back as the same person who started watching this video. Go back as a witness. Go back as a center of silence in the midst of the noise. When people around you are angry, stressed, and running in circles, do not get pulled into their madness. Remain centered in your awareness. Smile the gentle, understanding smile of a Buddha. Your very presence will become a healing force. Without saying a word, you will calm the people around you. When you do your work, do it with absolute love and attention. If you are cleaning the floor, clean it as if you are cleaning the floor of a temple, because you are. The whole earth is a temple. If you are cooking food, cook it with meditation. The food will absorb your loving energy, and whoever eats it will be nourished not just in body but in soul. When you speak, speak from your heart, not from your head. Let your words carry the fragrance of your inner silence. And when words are not needed, do not be afraid to be silent. Share your silence with your loved ones. Sitting silently with a friend, holding hands, watching the moon rise, that is a communion deeper than any conversation. Do not try to change the world. You cannot change the world. The world is too big and the madness is too old. But you can change yourself, and that is the only way to change the world. You are a part of the world. When you change, the world has changed a little bit. When you become a light, a little bit of darkness disappears from the earth. Create an oasis of peace around yourself, a small circle of love, of laughter, of awareness, and let anyone who enters your circle feel the warmth of that oasis. That is your only responsibility. The meaning of life is not something you will ever find. It is something you become. You become the meaning when you drop the search and start living totally, consciously, playfully, lovingly in the eternal now. You are the question and you are the answer. You are the seeker and you are the sought. You are the drop and you are the ocean. So live passionately, live fearlessly, dance with the storm, laugh with the rain, love without boundaries. Be a celebration. The universe is waiting for your dance. So my friend, The mirror has been wiped clean. The reflection is clear. What are you going to do with this new clarity? How will your tomorrow look different from your yesterday? The comment section is your canvas. Paint your intention there. If this journey has shattered your chains, show your gratitude by liking this video. Do not let this connection fade. Subscribe and ring the bell so we can continue to walk this path of fire together. To support the creation of these deep, uncompromising transmissions of truth, your super thanks makes a world of difference. To step into the inner circle of fellow rebels, use the join button. And for those who want to carry Osho's radical wisdom in their pockets, the ebooks in the description are your ultimate tools for daily meditation.